Yo, YouTube, what's up with your boy? Sports and Fitness Rants. I'm back, guys. Click that like button. Subscribe to my channel. What's up, y'all? Welcome back, guys. Welcome back, man. Got another great video for you guys today, as usual, man. You guys know the deal on this channel. It's all about setting the record straight, stopping the lies, stopping the narratives, stopping them from rewriting history, guys. And in this video, we're going to talk about how LeBron James continues to play for the money, continues to play for the fame, right? Does not play for the love of the game, does not play to win. He's only there for the money, and this is part of the reason why he wouldn't take a pay cut. And they continue to talk about how LeBron James is dominating the NBA at, these advanced ages. Oh, LeBron James in year 22. He's going into year 23, and he's still dominating. They use that word dominate, quote unquote dominate, often when they talk about LeBron James over the last, 5-6 years, because they keep pumping up his longevity and his ability to do what he's doing on the court, putting up these quote unquote stats at the ages that he is, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40 years old. And I'm here to tell you guys and remind everybody, LeBron James hasn't won an MVP since he turned 30. He has never won an MVP in his 30s, guys, in his 30s. And we're going to highlight some guys that have won MVPs, how many guys have won MVPs when they turned 30 versus LeBron James, because he's the one being celebrated for longevity. But LeBron James' longevity, one thing I always tell you guys, smoke screens and mirrors, guys. And we're going to talk about this guy right now and his dominating play over the last 5 or 6 years at the advanced age that he's been. And I want to thank you guys, everyone across the world, everyone across the states has been supporting my channel. Once again, guys, I am truly, truly humbled, man. I want to send a special thanks out to Ealza Bag for coming through once again with the super. It means a lot. Ealza Bag 1772. Thank you very much for your continued support. Like I said, you guys truly humble me, man. It really means a lot, guys. And you guys know what to do. Turn the volume all the way up. Hit that play button. Remember, these videos are for educational purposes. And let's roll. So, yes, guys, like I said, man, we want to talk about LeBron James briefly and the word dominating. Because LeBron James has been celebrated and promoted as dominating the league still at the advanced ages that he's been over the last 4 or 5 seasons now. Because, throughout NBA's history, we've known and we've seen, right, Father Time catches up with the greatest players. It doesn't matter, right? Everyone's going to start to feel feel the effects of Father Time. All of us, regular common folks, professional athletes, right? As we get older, things become harder. We move slower, right? We get weaker. Like I said, things just change in our bodies, right? As we go through life, right? We understand these things. We have to change and adapt the way that we look at life, the way that we do things, right? When we're young, we feel like we're indestructible. Nothing can happen to us. We can do whatever we want. We can eat whatever we want, and that's okay, right? And most of the time that is. But as you get older, you realize those things are not possible. You can't continue to do it that way, or you're not going to make it very far. You're not going to feel very good. However, when we talk about LeBron James, man, and they're using the word dominate, and they talk about LeBron James still dominating the league, after all these years of being in the NBA. And people are, once again, promoting him or promoting the word domination through his stats. Because there's really no other way that you can, promote LeBron James, quote unquote, dominating, right? There's nothing else to point at. It's the statistics that they're using to highlight LeBron James' play at this point in time of his career. Now, there's been a lot. We've all talked about this. LeBron James last season at 40 years old, right? And the comparisons with Michael Jordan at 40 years old. LeBron James telling us he planned on playing all 82 games at 40 years old, but he did not do this. All the hype coming into this season for LeBron James. Remember, LeBron James was ranked in the top 10 by ESPN coming into this season. Remember, Kenny J. Smith had LeBron James ranked number 2 coming into the past season. So all this hype that LeBron James had coming into this past season was based off what, guys? It's based off statistics. Because what else can you point to? There's nothing you can point to say, yes, LeBron James still dominating the league because he's doing X, Y, Z. They only have statistics to point to. And we all know that the statistics have been inflated, that they're easily manipulated in this era. Listen, man, I give LeBron James a lot of credit, man. He's figured out and mastered how to manipulate the stats better than anyone else in NBA's history. But unfortunately, that's not going to make you the greatest player in NBA's history. It's not going to make you the second greatest player in NBA's history. It's not going to make you top 5 or top 10 because you're putting up statistics in an era where stats don't really mean the same. And like I said, they're inflated and they can be manipulated very easily if a player wants to manipulate the stats. We've all seen LeBron James checking the stat sheet. LeBron James admitted on Mind the Game that he's always concerned about his field goals, his field goal percentage. These are the things that he's worried about during the game. He ain't worried about the wins and losses. He ain't worried about how many turnovers he's had in the game. He's worried about his field goal percentage. You know, I remember reading that article some years back, and they were talking to Tim Grover, the trainer of Michael Jordan. And they talked about some of the things, the only statistics that Michael Jordan focused on in an NBA game. And he said that Michael Jordan focused on turnovers, he focused on personal fouls, and he focused on free throw shooting. Those are like his biggest things. He didn't want to miss free throws, right? That's not LeBron James. And LeBron James looks like he's concerned with free throw shooting. He's not. I don't see LeBron James working on free throws. We see LeBron James doing a lot of nonsense in the gym. You see these clips of LeBron James putting in the work. Oh, LeBron James putting in the work, year 23, and you see a bunch of nonsense. You don't see him doing anything out there. It's just weird. He should be taking 1,000 free throws a day because this dude can't shoot free throws after 22 years of playing professional basketball. It's insane. So anyway, Michael Jordan was concerned with those things. The free throws, how many missed free throws he had. LeBron James ain't concerned about those things. The turnovers, Michael Jordan was concerned about the statistics, turnover statistics. Does anybody ever hear LeBron James talk about his turnovers? Does LeBron James fans even talk about his turnovers? No, they're too busy worrying about Russell Westbrook's turnovers. They're too busy worrying about this guy's turnovers and that guy's turnovers. They celebrate everyone else's turnovers except for the leader in turnovers. Doesn't make any sense. And I told you, Michael Jordan was concerned with the personal fouls. These are the kinds of things that Michael Jordan was concerned at, right? You don't want to get into foul trouble. You don't want to have, cheap fouls. Does LeBron James ever get called for fouls? No. So much so that LeBron James still has played almost 500 more games than Michael Jordan, guys. Almost 500 more games than Michael Jordan. We're talking about, that's the equivalent of damn near 4 or 5 NBA seasons more than Michael Jordan, right? And yet, still he hasn't passed Michael Jordan in personal fouls. How is that possible, guys? How is it possible? You know how it's possible? Because they don't call fouls on LeBron James. LeBron James don't play defense, right? So if you're not giving effort on defense, they're not going to get fouls called against you. But also on the offensive side of things, they're not calling fouls on LeBron James. You see Michael Jordan get called for offensive fouls when there clearly was no offensive foul. You see that. Do you guys see LeBron James get called for offensive fouls? No, they don't. And my man Jim over at Self Research NBA Facts highlighted that beautifully in a video he did about a week or so ago, highlighting LeBron James' lack of travels called against him, offensive fouls, all of this stuff throughout his entire playoff career versus a Michael Jordan who was routinely called, and held to the standard of the rules. Once again, the standard is lowered for someone like LeBron James to appear to be greater, right? So those are the stats that Michael Jordan was concerned about. But for LeBron James, he's worried about his field goal percentage. LeBron James worried about how many points he's scoring. He's worried about how many assists and rebounds he has in the game because those are the only stats that matter to him. He don't care about the wins. He don't care about the losses. Don't care about the turnovers, the missed free throws, right? The stumbling and bumbling he does on the court, right? The lack of leadership. He ain't concerned about none of this stuff, man. He's not even concerned with basketball because to him, it's just basketball. Doesn't make any sense, man. This guy's supposed to be playing a game that he loves, that he would down the court to play. And these guys get all this money, and yet they still act entitled, and they act as if the NBA is not a privilege. Remember, the NBA is a privilege, guys, because the NBA is a league. It's not basketball. I tell guys all the time, the fans make the league. We, the people, make the league. There's no NBA, guys, without fans watching it or people turning it on, people buying tickets. There's no NBA. If there was no money in professional basketball, then there would be no professional basketball. It would just be a sport that people play, recreationally. So when we talk about these kinds of things, these guys forget that the NBA league is a privilege. It's not a right for you to play in the league because you're that great or you're 7 feet tall. You have a right to play in the NBA. No, you don't. It's a privilege for you guys to be able to get paid to play this sport. And I understand it's a business and these guys might be shady, the owners, and some of these people are dirtbags. Absolutely, man. They're not good people. A lot of these elitists, these rich people are dirtbags, man. They're not good people. They look down on the common folks. The people that are lifting them up, that help them become billionaires, they look down on these people. Once again, so let's not get it twisted. That's LeBron James, guys, who's looking down on the common folks. All right? But let's not forget it's a privilege for you to play in the NBA. You don't have to play in the NBA, guys. You can go out in the park right now and go play. Go play in the playground. You see what I'm saying? Like, a lot of these guys, I do not believe that they would ever play basketball ever again if they were not getting paid to play it. That's why they're in the NBA. I told you, a lot of these guys would not even be playing basketball if they weren't 6'8", if they weren't 6'7", if they weren't 6'9". If you're that tall, once again, I always say the same thing. How often have you seen someone walking in your neighborhood or just in the mall or wherever you are in the park and you see someone 6'9", someone 6'8", someone 7 feet tall? You don't see these people, man. They're rare. These guys are blessed with genetics. People like us will never know nothing about, man. Nothing about. So like I said, a lot of these guys are only in the league because they just fell into it. They have to be in the league. What else are you going to do if you're 6'9"? What are you going to do? You got to go in the NBA. You got to try to play basketball. That's the facts for a lot of these guys, man. You can tell. It's a privilege for them to play there, but they act like it's their birthright. Like, oh, God, I'm this. They're God's gift to basketball. Insane. Remember, the players make the game, but the fans make the league, guys. So anyway, I wrote down some stuff here as far as LeBron James and the dominating. And I've always told you guys, and I've highlighted this one point. If LeBron James was really dominating the league, then there would be something that we can point to. There would be some kind of accolades or there would be championships won, right? These are the kinds of things that, would make you or would, you'd be recognized as dominating the league. When they talk about Michael Jordan, we talk about the 90s and we talk about the domination of Michael Jordan in the 90s. We're talking about the two-way play of Michael Jordan, right? Dominated on both sides of the ball. He wasn't just a shot chucker like they've tried to say now. They've turned the greatest two-way player in the league into just a shot chucker now, a guy who just had to shoot and score. This what lets me know you didn't watch the game. You don't know Michael Jordan. You don't know about that time, the effort he gave on both sides of the ball to be that opponent on both sides. No one's been able to duplicate this simultaneously for that long like Michael Jordan did. So that goes to the effort that he gave, the energy that he was willing to expend out there on the court, man, the heart, the grit, and the competitiveness he played with, the leadership that he had. So when you talk about Michael Jordan and they're talking about the domination of the 90s, you can clearly see it. Not only was he the greatest two-way player of that time, and you have competition with some great two-way players like Hakeem Olajuwon, like David Robinson, right? These are great two-way players. So Michael Jordan's dominating that, but also the MVPs. Michael Jordan's winning MVPs, 1991, 1992, right? 1996, 1998. So you won 4 MVPs in that a decade alone. Once again, we understand the retirements and what that, cost Michael Jordan, or we can say would have cost him. Maybe he won an MVP in 94 or 1995. We don't know. But you won 4 MVPs in the decade. But not only that, you won 6 championships in the decade, 6 finals MVPs, would let us know that you were the determining X factor in those series. And when you watch this series, you can clearly see and understand this. That's domination. Like I said, talk about Michael Jordan. But not only that, you talk about the teams, right? So the championships. But look at the records of the teams. How many wins the Bulls amassed, accumulated in the 90s, being led by Michael Jordan. How many 60-win seasons did he lead the Bulls to? A 70-win season, 69-win season, 67-win seasons, right? And all of these were them setting new records for the Chicago Bulls. Right? In 1991, they set a record for wins in a season for the Chicago Bulls franchise. Then they upped that in 1996, right? I mean, when you think of, they upped it again in 1992. So when you think about these things, and then in 96, and then in 97, remember, 97, they won 69 games, guys. So we're talking about the last three-peat for Michael Jordan leading the Bulls. Never missed a single game, guys. And once again, the Bulls won 60-plus games every single season on that three-peat. Remember, Scottie Pippen missed damn near half the season in 98. And Michael Jordan, the Bulls weren't fazed by this because of the leadership of Michael Jordan and the hustle, the effort, and the greatness of Michael Jordan, man, along with the teammates that came there. So we have to understand that's domination. Remember, Michael Jordan, the only player in NBA's history, guys, to win an MVP in the beginning of his career, the middle of his career, and at the end of his career. To this day, Michael Jordan is still the only player in NBA's history to retire after winning an MVP. The man retired after 98. The man won an MVP, a championship, and a finals MVP, and then was forced to retire. You show me another player in NBA's history forced to retire when they're at that peak. At that peak. You just wrapped up a second three-peat. You were MVP, led your team to all these wins. I mean, you were the finals MVP. That's dominating at 34, 35 years old. Michael Jordan turned 35 years old in that season. So like I said, guys, if we look into the NBA's history, and I wrote down some things here, of LeBron James, and I told you guys, LeBron James never won MVP in his 30s, guys. His last MVP was at 28 years old, guy, on his Miami Heat super team. We still don't understand how LeBron James won 2 MVPs on a Miami Heat super team. Doesn't add up. Kevin Durant never got any MVPs playing with the Golden State Warriors super team, did he? I don't remember this. So once again, LeBron James was gifted 2 MVPs on a super team that he built up to destroy the Eastern Conference and destroy all competition for a 10-year stretch. They gave him 2 MVPs on that thing. But you realize he's never won an MVP since Miami, since he was 28, guys. Not 29, not 30, 31, 32. He hasn't won an MVP since he was 28. And that's why I laugh at a lot of LeBron James fans that are 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 years old. They were not even old enough to remember the last time LeBron James won an MVP. That's how long ago it was. That's how long ago it was, guys. You're talking about, what was that, 12 years ago? The last time LeBron James won an MVP, 12 seasons? Half his fan base, they weren't even born. I mean, it's insane when you think about this. A lot of his fan base was like 3, 4 years old the last time he won an MVP. They have no clue, but they're over here telling us, they're telling me about Michael Jordan. But that's why I'm confused by a lot of these kids. They're so invested. They have so much to say. They have such a strong opinion on guys they never watched growing up that they have no clue who they are. They have such a strong opinion on all these guys, though. Oh, the watered down era. He played against nobody. But at the same time, they pump up Scottie Pippen. It can't be both. Either Scottie Pippen wasn't that great like everybody else wasn't in the 90s, or Scottie Pippen was that good and the 90s was so great that no one even remembers Scottie Pippen being like that, except for you fools. You see what I'm saying, guys? They get exposed on the daily. They don't know the deal. So I wrote down the players in NBA's history that have won an MVP award at 30 or older. They're 30 years old at the beginning of the season, guys, right? Whatever your age is at the beginning of the season is what counts. That's how I did the list. That's how they do it. So anyone who is 30 years old at the beginning of the season, right, and on, who won an MVP, guys, all right, I wrote down the players in NBA's history because LeBron James ain't on that list. And it ain't like LeBron James won an MVP in the year he turned 30. No, remember, LeBron James never won MVP since 28, guys. 28 was the last year he won MVP. And remember, he hasn't made an all-defensive team since he was 29. Not since he was 30, though. The last year in Miami, guys, that was a long time ago. Like I said, a lot of his fans don't even remember him on the Miami Heat. So, there have been 36 MVP winners, guys, in NBA's history. 36 different players have won the MVP award. They started giving out the MVP award in the 1955-1956 season. The first winner was Bob Pettit, right? Two-time MVP winner Bob Pettit, the first player in NBA's history to win an MVP. Now, like I say, they didn't start until the 1956 season, right? So you figure the first season of the BAA/the NBA was 1947. So you're talking about essentially 9-10 seasons that they played without MVP awards given out. So we can argue, or we can all agree, I think, that someone like Jumpin' Joe Folks probably would have won an MVP or two those first couple of seasons. And I think we all agree that George Mikan would have probably won an MVP every year he played in the 50s when he first came in the league. I'm trying to remember when he first came in, 49 or 50 or something like that. Maybe 51 or something. George Mikan came in the league, and he only played like 7 seasons, but won 5 championships. So George Mikan, he'd probably be a 5-time MVP winner, maybe even a 6-time MVP winner. Who knows? 4-time MVP winner. But regardless, they didn't have the award then. But Bob Pettit was the first player in NBA's history to win the award. So now I wrote down, like I said, guys, how many players won an MVP at 30 or older. 30 or older at the beginning of the season. They were 30 years old, guys, at the start of the season, and they won an MVP at that age. Now, this is not a common thing. As a matter of fact, since, I want to say, I wrote this down, hold on. I want to say since Steve Nash was the last player to win an MVP, guys, at 30 or older. Steve Nash. Think about the disrespect Steve Nash gets. But yes, Steve Nash won both of his MVPs at 30 or older, guys. LeBron James only have one. So let's think about this now. The 30-year-old MVP winners, all right? Bill Russell won at 30 years old. 5-time MVP winner Bill Russell, right? Tied with Michael Jordan for second most in NBA's history. You know, I've had LeBron James fans tell me that I'm an idiot because I don't have LeBron James in my top 5. Right? And they'll say, oh, imagine having a 4-time champion and a 4-time MVP winner. Imagine not having him in your top 5. They think they're clowning me by saying something like that. Like they've exposed my lack of basketball knowledge or something. I'm on the money with this. Like I said, I was one of the first people out here on YouTube pumping out LeBron James ain't top 10. And he's not worthy to be in the top 10. And a lot of people are starting to understand and realize this because they're doing the research. They're doing their homework. The more you dig into LeBron James' career, the more he gets exposed, the worse he looks. It's the complete opposite of Michael Jordan, guys. So anyway, Bill Russell, 30 years old, MVP. But anyway, so they'll tell me that LeBron James, I'm stupid for not having him in the top 5 with those accolades, but they'll tell me Bill Russell's not top 10, and the man's got 11 championships and 5 MVPs. Make it make sense. It doesn't. So Bill Russell won at 30 years old. Will Chamberlain won at 30 and 31 years old, so 2 MVPs after turning 30. Will Chamberlain, 2 MVPs. Another guy, Will Chamberlain, never gets any credit for nothing. Oh, Will Chamberlain only won 2 championships. Oh, Will Chamberlain did this. Oh, Will Chamberlain was trash. Will Chamberlain couldn't do that. It's like you got these kids in their 20s telling me what Will Chamberlain couldn't do. Insane. You guys obviously are not doing your homework. Just do the damn research, man. I don't understand like what you get by tearing down Will Chamberlain or Bill Russell. Like I said, the conditions those guys played under, the standard that they were held to, you guys don't know nothing about that. Nothing about that. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar won at 32 years old. We all know about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's longevity, 6-time MVP winner, most in NBA's history. And I believe every one of his MVPs except for his last one, I could be wrong, but I think every one of his MVPs except for his last one was voted on by the players. So you have to respect those. The Bill Russell MVPs, the Will Chamberlain MVPs, Bob Pettit, like these guys, they're voted on by the players. So you can't really argue with their contemporaries voting them, right? So imagine like in the 90s if they were still doing player voting. Do you guys think that Michael Jordan wouldn't have won the MVP every season that he played essentially? I mean, I think he would have. I'm not saying that he should have. I'm saying that Charles Barkley didn't deserve one or, Karl Malone, Magic Johnson, 1990. No one's saying that they didn't deserve that or earn those MVP awards. But I'm just saying, do you think that they would have won those awards if the players were voting? I just feel like Michael Jordan would have won it every year from the players because that's the respect he had. You know what I'm saying? So, anyway. So, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 32 years old when he won MVP. LeBron James can't sniff that. Dr. J won when he was 30, won MVP at 30 years old. Dr. J, I also told you guys, I did that video, how Dr. J did the slam dunk contest, guys. And he was like 34, 35 years old, but LeBron James wouldn't even do it when he was like 19, 20. Dr. J had true longevity. He was out there still giving the effort, putting on a show for the people. In his mid-30s, guys, LeBron James wouldn't even do it in his 20s. Insane, man. Shout out to Dr. J. Magic Johnson won when he was 30 years old. Hakeem Olajuwon won at 31. And you know what's interesting about Hakeem Olajuwon? He has 1 MVP in his career. Once again, we could argue that he could have more. And like I said, you talk about the era he played in. A lot of competition there, man. That's what I'm talking about with these guys. You talking about Hakeem Olajuwon's MVP win. That was his first MVP, and he was 31 years old, guys. That's the grace of Hakeem Olajuwon, the consistency, the longevity of Hakeem Olajuwon. At 31 years old, winning your first MVP. Meanwhile, LeBron James never even sniffed one after 30. Interesting. We all know Michael Jordan. He won at 32 years old and at 34 years old. And when Michael Jordan won at 34, at that time, he was the oldest MVP award winner in NBA's history. Michael Jordan, the oldest MVP in NBA's history, guys. And then we know Karl Malone, 33 and 35 years old. Then remember, the next year, 1999, the lockout-shortened season, Karl Malone won the MVP at 35 years old. Now remember, this is the age at the start of the season, right? So Michael Jordan technically won his MVP at 35 years old. Technically, he was 35 years old when he got that award because Michael Jordan's birthday came before the end of the season. So when he got that award in 1998, he technically was 35 years old. But at the beginning of the season, he was 34. So technically, Karl Malone's the oldest MVP winner in NBA's history, but Michael Jordan's right there. But you know whose name is not on that list? LeBron James. I don't see LeBron James' name on the list for the oldest MVP winner in NBA's history. And then once again, shout out to Steve Nash, who won 2 MVPs at 30 and 31 years old, back-to-backs. So Steve Nash, guys, I think what people don't realize is, maybe I'll make it a trivia question. Steve Nash was the last MVP winner, guys, to win an MVP after 30. Steve Nash, who gets disrespected all the time. They don't respect his MVPs. Oh, he robbed Kobe. He robbed Shaq. Come on, guys. Stop the nonsense, man. We all know that there have been multiple times where different players could have deserved the MVP award and maybe they didn't get it. But to disrespect and always pick out Steve Nash as a guy who didn't earn these awards or doesn't deserve them is laughable to me. Because Steve Nash was a great player. He didn't win the MVPs by accident. But he was the last guy to win at 30, guys, 31 years old. Man, that's pretty damn impressive when you think about it. LeBron James never won one at 30. But Steve Nash won 2. Karl Malone won 2 after 30. Will Chamberlain won 2 after 30. Michael Jordan won 2 after 30. Karl Malone, it's just crazy when they promote LeBron James as having the ultimate longevity, right? And being so great for so long, dominating when the man's won MVP since 30. And I highlighted all these guys that won one. Also, LeBron James never won an MVP playing all 82 games. Never once, guys. Now, there have been guys that have played 81 games, 80 games, 79 games. I don't give a damn. You missed a game. You missed 2 games. You missed 3 games. I don't give a damn. I don't want to hear no excuses. You did not play all 82 games for whatever the reasons is. Whatever the reasons, guys. So in NBA's history, there have been 36 MVP winners, guys. 36 MVP winners. And 13 of them, half of them, have played all 82 games, guys. Wes Unseld, Will Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Dave Cowens, Bob McAdoo, Moses Malone, Julius Erving, Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, Karl Malone, Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, and the last MVP winner to play all 82 games was who? Kobe Bryant, guys. The last guy to play all 82 in an MVP winning season. Since 2008, that's Kobe Bryant when he won in 08, all 82 games. Since then, no one has played 82 games and won an MVP, guys. Nobody. All right? Now, like I said, there have been guys that played 81. I believe Russell Westbrook played 81 games. I believe Kevin Durant played 81 games. Some guys have played 79 games. He didn't play all 82. Once again, there's a difference here. All right, guys? So, it's insane that, you talk about LeBron James the way they talk about him, dominating all these years. But when you look into NBA's history, there have been other players that have won MVPs after they turned 30, and LeBron James is not one of them dudes. He's not one of those guys, right? I wrote the list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 different players have won MVPs, guys, right? After being 30 or more. And LeBron James ain't one of them dudes. How many times do you hear guys talk about LeBron James? Oh, LeBron James is the youngest player to this. LeBron James is the youngest player to do that. They'll celebrate the youngest player to do all this nonsense because the man came to the NBA when he was like 18 years old. And they act as if that's an accomplishment when most people come into the NBA's league at 22, 23, 21. Like, we're supposed to celebrate LeBron James for coming out of high school and being the youngest player to do X, Y, Z. And what is it about? It's stats. Is LeBron James the youngest MVP winner in NBA's history? No, he's not. He didn't win the MVP. He's the youngest player in NBA's history. Is he the youngest Defensive Player of the Year award winner? No, he's not. Was he the youngest player to be on an all-defensive team? No, he wasn't. Like, what did LeBron James really be as accomplished as the quote-unquote youngest player in NBA's history? Was he the youngest player to win a Finals MVP? No, he wasn't. Was he the youngest player to win a championship or lead his team to a championship? No, he was not. So really, what does he accomplish as the youngest player? Only these stats. Oh, the youngest player to 10,000 points. The youngest player to 20,000 points. Who cares about that stuff? No one cares about that. He's also the youngest player to come into an NBA and never have to play in a system. He's the only guy to come into the NBA and just be able to do whatever he wants to do, not be coachable, never sacrifice for the team or for his teammates. He's the only guy, but we're celebrating his stats. That doesn't make any sense. There's nothing else to celebrate. And on the flip side, is LeBron James the oldest MVP winner? Not even close. Michael Jordan is way closer to that than LeBron James will ever be. Is LeBron James once again the oldest Defensive Player of the Year award winner? Is he the oldest guy to be on an all-defensive team? Was he older than Kobe Bryant? Was he older than Tim Duncan? Was he older than Kevin Garnett when he won Defensive Player of the Year award in his 30s? No, LeBron James ain't sniffing none of this stuff. LeBron James was great, right? On both sides of the ball. He gave effort on both sides of the ball, right? For like 4 or 5 years, man, of a 22-year career. That's not impressive. That's not domination. That's LeBron James fooling people out here and being promoted through his stats, which are not impressive. Like I said, when you're allowed to manipulate and do what you want to do whenever you want to do it. LeBron James has not dominated in a long, long, long time. And he was never really truly dominating. And that's why he had to switch teams and join all these other guys. Because he was never dominating. Never was. Never have. Never will be. Those are the facts. You guys know the deal, man. I'll catch you guys on the next one.